Go ahead with questions, and we'll start with Maria.
Coach, a great way to start out the SEC season, of course, getting that win on the road. Just how much momentum does that carry you into on playing now the second team that I assume y'all remember won last year, and you want to sort of avenge that also?
I hope that it does. I hope that we carry some momentum. I know our players were really excited to walk in the locker room and say we were 1-0. That came up numerous times. They understand how hard it is to get wins in the SEC, so they're not taking that lightly. I hope it gives you some momentum, gives you some confidence. But at the same time, I think they understand that you still got to do it. Every game is different, and you've got to come to play every day.
Cora.
41% of Alabama's scoring comes from 3-pointers. Obviously, defense has taken leaps and bounds since the UCLA game, but I guess how confident are you in the progress your team has made defensively and their commitment to defending the perimeter?
Yeah, I've been really proud of our team because I think we have improved in that area. We will obviously be tested on Sunday because this team is very efficient offensively with what they do. They run some really nice actions to get their shooters some touches. But I think probably more important than that, they do a nice job of knowing who they are, finding their open teammates, and boy, they can really, really shoot it behind the 3-point line. So we've got to guard a lot of things. They have some players that can drive. They've got some post up people, and they've got some players that can really extend your defense. So they excel on the offensive end, and we've got to be as good as we've been.
Maria.
Coach, this may be more of a question for Jordan Horston, but of course, this was the game that took her out last season. It ended her season. Do you know if this is sort of circled in her mind as sort of a statement game for her, or is that just too long ago?
Yeah, I think this is a unique situation because last year we lost to them when Jordan got hurt, but then we played them again in the SEC tournament. So, I think I haven't talked to Jordan about playing them again. I think it's just one of those things that we know from history. We know from last year. We know if we don't guard them, they are really, really good. And it's easier said than done. It's not easy to just say we're going to go guard. I mean, you've got to be on top of things to guard this team.
Cora.
One of my kind of lasting impressions from Thursday was Rukia was very poised, especially when you didn't have Jordan in that first half much. You really had to turn the momentum, and she really provided that, getting offensive boards, that great defensive play at the end with her and Jordan. How, I guess, crucial is that poise from her as you go through SEC play?
Yeah, I was so excited and happy for her, not just her production, but how she played. I agree. I thought she stayed really level-headed the entire game. I thought our staff did a good job of putting her in position to be successful. We moved her around quite a bit, making sure that she was comfortable. Honestly, on both ends of the court, we made sure she knew exactly what we needed from her on the defensive end as well. And she really performed and looked comfortable, and poise was a great word. It looked poised the entire game.
Maria.
Marta Suarez, of course, wasn't at Florida. You said post game that it was personal reasons. Is there any update on her availability for Sunday?
No update. Same situation.
Cora.
Another play that kind of stood out to me on Thursday, Jordan Walker made a lot of great defensive plays, was really solid all game. And she ended up, she lost her starting spot after 3 games. She earned it back. How did you see her kind of handle that situation personally, trying to earn that starting spot back? And what was it that, got her that spot back for you?
Yeah, I think a lot of things are evaluated. We felt like the lineup we needed to get Walker and Powell opposite each other in the lineup. And that was actually, it wasn't anything that Jordan Walker did so much to come off the bench. It's just, that's what we needed. And then we felt like we needed something different in the starting lineup, and it's when we put her back in there. So again, like I said, things aren't concrete when it comes to starting. I'm just, there's so much more that goes into it. It's not just 5 people out there. It's then who's next and who's next together. And the complementary players, I think, is really important. But that's also great recognition. Jordan Walker did a heck of a job being tough. Defensively, she made some really good plays and was able to really kind of set the tone with how we were going to defend. And then Jasmine Powell came in and did the same thing. Well, she had some big plays defensively. She had one play in transition that if they had scored, they'd have cut it to 3. And she guarded well enough that it caused a turnover and we go down and score instead. I thought that was a huge defensive play on her part. So I like their effort. I like what they did for us down in Florida.
Let's go next to Casey.
Coach, now that you guys have found some success in these last few games, going forward, is there one thing that you're really trying to hone in on practice, on improving as you go forward in SEC play?
Yeah, I think, we want to continue to stay sharp with what we're doing. We want to continue to have good ball movement. We want to continue to try to find low turnovers. We want to continue to do the work on the boards that we need. We're going to continue to work hard on our man defense. All those things that have really helped us improve, those things we have to continue to work on. You can't ever check the box and say, okay, we're done with this, we're going to move on. Those are things that we have to be great at every day. So we work hard on those. And then as we go, as we find times, and depending on our opponents, then you look at wrinkles. You put in a new play here, you might put in a new defense here, maybe work a little bit more on something that's not your normal plan A. You've got to find your plan B and your plan C now in the next month or so.
Go back to Cora.
I'm going to go back to Rakia because there was that moment after that after that defensive play, she slaps ball out, Jordan tips to her and 1. There's a great picture of the bench. Everybody's screaming. Jordan runs over to her. And, besides the fact that it was a great play, it felt like a really significant moment of celebration. Could you kind of give me your perspective of that moment and why it felt, so great to you guys?
Cora, get out of my brain. Yes, I thought the same thing. In that moment, I remember looking over there and Jordan is on top of Rakia, almost just so excited. In that moment we were, there was a toughness about it. We were playing a tough game, and in that moment prior to that, things weren't going our way. Florida had the momentum. We get it back, and all we care about in that moment was, this is a big play for Tennessee, and we were giving. It was great. The chemistry was wonderful. Honestly, the whole game, but that play just epitomized kind of where we are, what we've been through, and how we're still pulling together. And I thought it was great. I remember sitting there looking at it when it happened, thinking, man, this is just awesome. Awesome for them to get to feel that passion, not just for the game and the win, but for each other.
Maria.
Coach, you mentioned different combinations and getting players in various scenarios. And I realize sometimes a player doesn't get in, not because she's not ready, but because the combination out there is working. The one I'm going to ask about is Kaya Wynn. And this rugged SEC, her style of play seems well suited to it. Just how important is Kaya going to be off the bench?
I think she's got to stay ready. I really do. You never know when you're needed. And, we're trying to stay ready with her. I'll give you a great example today. I'm watching film with her alone just to make sure that, we're going to try to stay sharp there. And it's not easy. Players want to play when they're not getting minutes. continuing to work and be ready is not always easy. But she is such a great human being, and I absolutely adore her, and I'm so grateful and thankful that she's here, and her time is coming. I really do believe that. And so, you never know when that's going to happen, because right now, obviously, she's playing behind some really talented players that are playing well. But you never know when it's going to be your number, and you've got to come in and be productive on both ends of the court.
Casey.
Coach, you kind of mentioned it with Rakia and that momentum shift that you guys had against Florida, but Jordan Horston, you can just tell her leadership on the team makes a difference out on the court. We saw it with Rakia against Florida and with Justine against Wofford. Just how important is her leadership going to be as you guys continue the rest of the season?
Well, I think Jordan has such a huge role on this team, obviously on the court, with her production, with her offense, her defense, her board play, but also with her voice. I think it's really important, and her poise and her confidence in her teammates goes a long way. She loves them. I know I've said that before. She loves her teammates, and she loves this program and just is so competitive. She wants to win, and that shows. And, she's constantly reminding her teammates of that. And, they know who she is, but her voice has been really good. She's got to keep having that for us. It's got to stay positive, and because she's just somebody they're naturally going to look to. I mean, she's got that it factor.
Cora.
You've talked about, starting off SEC play with a win is important, but just kind of in the deeper context of this season, how much more crucial was it to win that game? And because if you lose that game, you're starting off SEC play with a loss. You're 8-7. I guess just in the context of this season and making kind of like that, sending that message that the corner has been turned, like how important was Thursday's win?
I thought it was a huge win. I thought it was a huge game going in, for a lot of reasons, not just for future standings, but for, like we said earlier, maybe some momentum, but also some hopefully confidence, just to reiterate that what we're doing, what we will work, and how we need to play is important, and they have to have that buy-in. They did. I tell you, we had a great practice the day before. We had a great shoot around day of, so things were really positive going into that game. And it's one of those that you want it to work out because they've done everything right leading up to, and that was the case. And as a coach, in the moment, you don't want it this way, but the way the game went was probably perfect for us in terms of, we pushed ahead, we had the lead, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. We had to fight for it, and we had to fight to keep it. And we had to fight to get the momentum back. That's a great lesson to learn, and to be able to do that and come out with a win on the road in the SEC, I think is a big deal.
Maria.
I know the noon tip is always good to get up and get going, get the first one in, but it is New Year's Eve. Have you told the players, make good decisions tonight, get to bed early, don't act like a 19 or 20-year-old on New Year's Eve?
I will reiterate that for sure. I think they understand they're coming over early for, we're going to have not a full shoot around in the morning because that would be pretty early, but we're going to do just a quick walkthrough to finalize some things, and then have our pregame meal, which will be, their pregame meal will be at 8:30. So they'll have to get up early. We'll remind them. I think they understand what's important at this point, and hopefully they will be the mature players that I know they can be.
Quick follow-up. Do you make any New Year's resolutions? Is that anything you've ever done? Or you just want to be the best Kellie you can be every day of the year?
Yeah, you got it. I've never made a New Year's resolution. Never have. I figure if there's something I need to be doing, I need to be doing it, and I don't have to wait till the new year to do it. But also I don't, a lot of those New Year resolutions have to do with exercising, and I'm not going to hold myself to a standard that I'm not going to be able to follow through on as well. So I will try to be the best me that I can be, and understand that I've got to give myself some grace when you know, maybe I ate too many cookies one day, you know. I'm not gonna beat myself over the head for that one.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We'll see you tomorrow.